information to help you, but then there's a lot of people out there that has information that will do more harm than good. This is something very critical and very crucial. So what I do as I help people over the years, I say, listen, it can be done. I mean, you can boost your credit score and a certain amount of points within 7 days to 2 weeks. You can do that. You really can. Legally, there are some things that people have been doing that have not, it's basically helped them out overall. Okay. So what we want to do is give you the correct insight to help you and or your family members get to the position to win. All right. Let's go on with it. I'm not going to be very long. I want to give you some high information. Then I'm going to show you how to connect with me as it pertains to boosting your credit or a family member's credit score as well to that next level. I want to start with a quote. There's a quote that says, there's a difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is a temporary economic condition. Being poor is a disabling frame of mind and a depressed condition of the spirit, and you must vow never ever to be poor again. That's kind of from one of my mentors, Mr. John Hope Bryant, and he has given that quote many times. But it started out when he started his organization, Operation Hope, about 30 years ago, when the riots of Central LA started. People were frustrated. They were broke. They were busted. They were disgusted. They were trying to get ahead. They couldn't. And there were a lot of other things happening in that time. So they rioted. One thing that when he talks and he brings out some things, I had an opportunity to even speak with him some time ago. He said, I've noticed something. He said that different neighborhoods, I noticed that the neighborhoods with 700 plus credit scores were not rioting. It was those neighborhoods that would have the 520s and the 530s and lower um, that were rioting because they felt like they couldn't get ahead. They felt like that life was so limited. They tried to get a home loan. They tried to get approved, and they were declined. And they had no way out. And so the overall system frustrated them, along with other things that were happening during that time. For those who remember the Rodney King issue and so forth, that was happening back then. But it was really more than that. People felt that they could not make it. And one of the main reasons financially is because their credit score, and they weren't taught what they didn't know. So even Jesus said, he said, the poor you will always have with you. So you're going to have a lot of people with the poor mindset. And if we never save or invest, we'll always be poor no matter how much we earn. We got to be taught properly how to change our mindset, which pertains to money. So I can get you to a 720 credit score, but you have to change your 480 mindset. This is the most powerful thing people have to realize. It's about mindset change. You have to realize that money is not evil. Yes, the love of money is the rule of all evil, will cause you to do evil things, but money itself, it's amoral. It doesn't have any morals. And as it pertains to the financial industry, there are different tools you can use to reach your financial goals. There are over 2,000 scriptures, really 3,000 pertaining to finances and business. But finances, there are hundreds of scriptures pertaining to how to use your money properly and what the word of God says to it. And for those who don't know already, most of my teachings, if not all my teachings, are biblically founded and they have modern day application. Okay. So we're going to give some scriptures as we go along the way. And Habakkuk 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, for they have rejected my knowledge. A lot of people reject this knowledge, especially those who are raised in that old school mindset of don't trust the banks, and or they're raised in the mindset of you're going to put that money in the ground, on the refrigerator, in the mattress. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to really grow your money and start leaving legacy, because the scripture does say a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. The only way you can truly do that is learning how to make your money work for you and how to multiply it. One thing we didn't get in the old school was financial literacy. We do this day, because I'm one of the people who teach financial literacies in high school, and teaching financial literacy in high school is required here in Tennessee to graduate. So you have to have half a credit of personal finance. And about 30 other states have made a requirement up to date so far. And we are in the process of wanting all 50 states and territories, U.S. territories, to make it a requirement to teach financial literacy in high school and to graduate. Even it started in some middle school levels as well. And parents, you need to be responsible as well, but you don't know what you don't know. So it's people like me, the people online today, is going to show you different financial techniques. One thing I do want to include today when it comes to building your credit, they're thinking that payday loans, flex loans, title loans help build your credit. They do not. They are a trap. They're a trick. And I happened to have to do some undercover work at a particular title loan place. I call it undercover work for a few months to see how it works behind the scenes. This was not one of the real bad ones, but it was one of those in the community that caused people to be in a debt trap for years. And for those who are trapped in a title, I used to be trapped in a payday loan cycle myself. It took years to get out. I had to change my mindset first, get my money in order before I could even start building my credit. And then once I got out of that mind trap and then associating myself with people that put me in that mindset, you have to get out of that mindset because those payday loans, they're just legalized loan sharks. Title loans, all those things that get you in a trap and keep you in a trap for years. And then you say, well, I'll just pay it off when I get my tax return. We all said it. We've done it for those who've been in it. And you get back in that same cycle once you do that. Okay. So we want to get you out of that mindset so you can start winning with money and stop being charged these absorbent interest rates and get you in a position to start winning with money. I'm here today to start talking about credit. And I want to help you become delivered from those financial traps. Okay. I had a client years ago, one of my elderly clients, they gave me permission to use this. And I have many clients over the years, and they were trapped in that payday loan cycle. And they had borrowed they just bought a small amount of money. I think it was like $2,500, but they end up paying $2,800 for their balance because the interest rate. They paid $616. If you look at this right here, see if I can put it on there. It's if they paid $616 for their payment, but of that $616, 500 went $535 went toward paying down the loan. I'm sorry, went toward interest, excuse me, went toward interest. That is ridiculous. This is an elderly person. They were in their 60s, late 60s, I think it was, or early 70s at that time. If you look at the date on this is about 2016, 17. So this is a real serious issue, and people need to learn how to win with money. So I want to talk about credit. What is credit? Well, the Latin word for credit means credo, which means I believe. All you're saying is the company's going to give you goods and services or currency in exchange with a promise you'll pay them back in the future with interest. All this is permission to go into debt. Okay. Now I will go into the difference between good debt and bad debt, but I do want you to understand debt is debt. You owe someone. Okay. And how to properly use debt to build your financial future is something we talk about in my online courses. So when you have debt, it is that opportunity to obtain a good or service or currency to help you. But if you have a good credit score, because they said cash is king, but credit is power. See, and this is where we come into it. And I won't say cash is king anymore because the power of the dollar is no longer valued. Since 1971, it was taken off the gold standard. But when you have credit, it makes a difference in how much money you can get or how much of something, a house you can get, how much of a car you can get, and the interest rate involved. You look at Mike versus Kate here, same age, they make the same income, but yet Kate's credit score is 760, Mike's credit score is 620. Went to the same dealership to get the same type of car at the same price. But Mike's interest rate was 12%, Kate's interest rate is 3%. Same type of loan for same number of years. His payment is $266.93. Her payment is $215.62. Think about what you can do with the money saved every month if you have a better credit score. That's just on a small scale. Think about if you have a home loan. Think about if you want to get a business loan. Think about if you want to get any type of loan, the money that saves you by having a better credit score. So if you look at the overall picture here, after paying that payment for 5 years, Mike paid $4,000 in interest on his loan, but Kate only paid $930 in interest on her loan. What a huge difference, a $3,000 difference. What could you do with $3,000? Wow. So this is what we really want to go into when we talk about credit scores and how to build it up. Let's talk about the three major credit bureaus. There are other smaller credit bureaus, but we're not going to go into that. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are the main ones that collect your information. Well, what are they? Well, they're not government agencies. They're just businesses, privately held billion-dollar companies with no legal authority. And they're in the business of selling and reporting your personal information for profit. There are companies that will buy your personal information from them because you give it to them. You give it to them when you apply for certain things. You give it to them when they get your information offline, and they will give your information away for a price. This is how you get different advertisements that come to you in the mail. This is how you get different banks and other lending companies that give you credit card offers in the mail because they already know your situation. Those who have low credit scores, have you noticed that you get all these credit card offers? You get pre-qualified, not pre-approved, but pre-qualified because they have your information. They'll spend millions upon millions of dollars to buy certain demographic information, age group, ethnic group, certain zip code, all that stuff. They will pay to these three major credit reporting agencies. I don't like to call them credit bureaus because they make them sound all governmental, but they're really credit reporting agencies. That's all they are. And these agencies are required by law to remove all derogatory items on your credit score. There's 7 years that are such as collections and charge-offs and over 30s, 7 years. Now, the bankruptcies, it says up to 10 years. If you look at the law says up to 10 years. We've had bankruptcies removed, have clients that have removed their bankruptcy definitely within the first year. And they have a testimonial on one of my websites or one of my YouTube messages that said less than a year, we were able to remove the bankruptcy from them as soon as they came off of it. And then oftentimes they don't do this. The credit reporting agencies don't do this automatically. So it's up to you to really do your due diligence to remove this or have someone help you remove this. According to the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971, the purpose of this particular agency is to protect us as consumers, to help you make sure your information on your credit report is accurate and verifiable. Under this act, both federal and various state laws require that items be removed from your credit report that are not 100% accurate. And if they cannot be verified in timely manner, they got to be removed as well. So a lot of people got things on their credit score. 3 out of 4 people, sometimes 4 out of 5, depends on what's going on and where the time frame, have incorrect things on their credit score. And you have to update it properly. And I'm going to show you how to do that when you connect with me. Help you pay off your debt, remove any judgments. We show you how to do that as well in different manners and different strategies and methodologies, because sometimes these things just won't fall off. So I'm going to get into what makes up your credit score when it pertains to how to build it. And when it comes to that, the main thing, the 35% of your credit score is made up of payment history. And some people say, if I make my payments on time, yes and no. You don't want to be late. Don't be over 30 days past due, number one. Number two is it depends on the type of credit. If you can make a credit card payment on time, that's good. But if you make it on time, I'm going to say it's too late because you want to pay before the due date, at least 3 or 4 days, because it takes it, especially when you make a payment, it takes time to update on that particular account, 3 to 4, I say 48 hours. So I like to pay debts 3 or 4 days before they're due, but also make multiple payments. See what says payment history, make multiple payments in a month. Now, it may not be a multiple full payment, but if you say you have a payment due of $150 on a credit card, make $50, $75 this like 2 weeks before it's due. And then when you get paid again, make another $75 when it's due, or 3 or 4 days before it's due. Make multiple payments in a pay cycle. The algorithm will pick that up and make sure that, you have multiple payments. They will eventually increase your credit limit, which will help you on your debt to income ratio, or your debt utilization, I should say. So 35% of that, your credit score, is based on payment history, not just when you pay, but how much you pay as well. So you can pay over as well. Minimum payment is a trap and a trick. Pay more than minimum payment if you can. Now, there are certain instances where you want to pay minimum payment. If you're trying to pay off bad debt, then you want to pay minimum payments on those other debts while you chunking down the other debt you're trying to pay off quickly. And once that's paid off, some people do the snowball effect. Some people do the avalanche effect. Then some other people do another methodology that I'm going to let one of my guests get into today called velocity banking, which I'll let that individual cover that. That is her expertise. And I'm so excited to have her on today. But let's talk about credit score range. 300 to 850 is your credit score range. And I remember when I first pulled up my credit score many moons ago, and it was so low that I couldn't even put it here on the screen if you're looking at the screen. But it is, I'm so happy to report that I believe that I believe that we should be in the 700. Everyone should be in the 700 plus range. We've been in 700s, even 800s before in this household because we utilize our credit for different things, and we want to make sure that we're using it for the benefit. We're continuing to grow, continue to learn certain things. But what I want you to realize is even though you may not want to do great things with credit, we still want you in a positive zone with your credit. We want you in the 700 plus. So, and just in case, you'll be ready. Okay. So there are two different types of credit scores. There's a FICO score and a Vantage score. Vantage score is what a lot of people use when it comes to their, they do the Credit Karma, those other particular credit reporting companies. They have a different type of formula they use. A lot of people go by FICO score. You want to go by, a lot of people go by Vantage score. You want to go by FICO score. A Vantage score is skewed about 20, 30 points. So you won't get an accurate number. I tell people when you use Vantage score reporting companies, look at it for informational purposes. Look at your credit report and not the credit score, and use the credit report to do that. But there are other ways to get a free credit report without signing up with these companies and then getting your personal information. But your FICO score is what the companies look at. And there are about 19 different, if not more, FICO scores from different lenders, the auto lenders, insurance lenders, home lenders, all these type of different lenders that look at your credit. Insurance companies, they have their own type of credit score. So if we get you looking good above across the board, it doesn't matter who looks at your credit score from what reporting agencies, you're going to look golden across the board. That's what we want to do. It's their game and their rules, and we just want to help you play the game properly. Go ahead and get your free credit report at annualcreditreport.com. Write this down or take a screenshot, because this is where you get your free credit report from all three credit bureaus or credit reporting agencies, and they give it to you for free. Look at it. I tell people every 4 months, if you want to, if you're that deep into it, look at your credit report, make sure everything looks good, and update anything that's on there needs to be updated. Okay. Especially if you're gunning for a certain score for a certain purpose. Okay. There are different types of cards. There's a debit card, ATM card, credit card, and a prepaid card. Don't get them confused. They all have different functions. I'm focused on the credit card. The other cards are just your money. Credit cards are the bank's money, and you want to learn how to use it properly to your advantage and not just spend it nilly-willy, all right? When it comes to settling accounts, build a relationship with your creditors and collectors. Talk with them, communicate with them, and let them know, hey, I want to pay this down. Negotiate things with them. If you know there's a bill that's $100, and you have a collection that is, let's say, $500, and say, hey, 50 cents on the dollar, I'll pay you this off. Let them send a letter to you that they agree to that, and then go ahead and pay that off and get it done. In some cases, you can even get it deleted if it's under $500, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So as it pertains to disputing inaccurate information, you want to make sure you look at your credit report. What I do with my clients, I have live sessions with them. We dispute things online, in person, like this, face to face. I show you I'm disputing it, and then you'll get a follow-up from the credit reporting agencies about what was deleted and what need to be updated, and then we make game plans. My goal is to get people in the 700 plus credit score within 3 to 6 months. That's it. And then we keep working on it, we keep working down. And so to rebuild your credit, to restore your credit, pay off the bad debts first, those small bad debts. Don't close accounts yet until you're positioned to close the accounts. We'll talk about that then. Clear up any judgments, liens, and public records. We resolve any accounts that you're over 30% of the credit limit. We pay off small collections, negotiate larger debts, pay off closed accounts. And then we can even use your own money to establish a secured credit card. That's something for those who can't get a credit card on their own, but there's secured card accounts. As it pertains to the current status of what's going on in today's world with our current administration, the previous administration ruled that all medical debts be removed that are really under $500. in January 2025 that it changed to where you still can get the below removed, but instead of getting all your medical debts deleted, $500 below can be deleted. Now, we're still working on getting people's credit score boosted by getting those medical debts or medical collections on your credit report removed, but we can boost scores pretty much within 2 weeks to 45 days by 20 points. So that's all some people need to get approved for a house or a car, that 20 points. And then we'll talk about medical debts that remain on credit reports and how to work those and get those negotiated down as well. So what still applies? Well, like I said before, $500 under medical debts can be deleted. And then also any remaining paid medical debts above that can be negotiated. And that's what we want to, because we don't want those larger debts to lower your score. So as we get ready to close out here, and I want to put you all in a position to connect with me. We want to teach you how to dispute and settle and according to the state laws. You want to know your rights as a consumer. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or it's called consumerfinance.gov, will give you laws that help you as a consumer get your information in order, know your rights, whether it becomes to credit or anything else as it pertains to you as a consumer. So get that website, look through it, search it. Anything that's happened to you, they have articles on it. They have people you can connect with. They'll tell you the laws that help you out. So I want to tell you today, you were born to win. Okay, but even though we were programmed to lose, you were born to win. And we want to change your mindset as winning with money. Okay, so I want to help you boost your credit score to 700 plus in 3 to 6 months. Or if you know someone, I want you to connect with me. Scan this QR code or take a screenshot and share it with someone. Schedule an appointment with me today. Once you do that, I will speak with you in a one-to-one consultation, but also you spend that hour with me, we'll jump right in and start working on your credit, okay? Start boosting your credit, start doing things that we need to do to correct what has been made wrong, okay? And in addition to that, there's a program that I have. And it's a program that I speak with people. I do a one-to-one coaching for 12 weeks. And we meet each other once a week for 2 hours. It's a group of people to where, and this is only like a handful of people, I do this at a time. And so you were able to work with me. I give you more information about that program as well to help you boost your credit score within 3 to 6 months. And that's what I want to do for you all. I want to thank you all for your time and attention. Are there any questions you can put in the chat at this time? If not, put them later on and we'll follow up the best to our ability. I thank you all for tuning in. We have our next speaker coming up, and I'm going to ask my lovely assistant, my beautiful wife, to introduce them now.
Right. All right. Awesome. 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 Great information. So glad to have wonderful Michael Morrow and all of the information that he shared today. I don't know if anybody was taking notes, but I definitely was. I have my green notepad. I don't know if you can see it. I have on a green shirt. We are ready to grow. We are ready to win. We are ready to go forward in victory. So, if anybody was not taking notes, one of the things that I would love for you to write down is I win with money when I change my mindset. Remember that. That's one of the things that he talked about. You cannot have a 700 plus credit score with a 480 mindset. Let's change our mindset. We are winners because we were born to win. Awesome. 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 So if you have any questions, please definitely put them in the chat. And we're going to go ahead and introduce our next presenter for today. Very excited. We have Miss Christy Van with us. Awesome.
Hello.
So good to see you, Miss Christy. We welcome you. She is a passionate financial coach, devoted wife and mother, and a proud Southern belle. I'm one too. She has a powerful story of faith and financial freedom. Christy knows what it's like to struggle raising 3 daughters, working multiple jobs, and living paycheck to paycheck. After overcoming years of debt, she leaned into God's promises and applied biblical financial principles and discovered life-changing strategies like velocity banking. You can see more about her powerful techniques and her client testimonials on her YouTube channel called Fantastic. So today, Christy is certified, she's equipped, and excited to help others break from financial stress and step into their best life. So I introduce to some and present to others a wonderful, wonderful lady with great wisdom and knowledge, Miss Christy Van.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
That was so
welcome.
kind of you. So I kind of want to start with when we fall in love and we marry that heart that we know is our soulmate. Money is probably the last thing on our mind. But we end up living on a prayer, just like the old Bon Jovi song says, right? Tommy gets laid off. Gina's on her feet all day working. She cries in the nighttime, but Tommy whispers, "It's okay. It's okay." No, Tommy, it's not okay. It's not okay. We get into a situation to where we find ourselves totally smothering in debt. I found myself that way. When I was 19 years old, I thought, oh, I found the man for me. I went through 17 years of a volatile marriage, financially stressed from beginning to end. And all of this, all of the struggle ending in suicide. So when I tell my story, I want people to understand that I have gone through the young life. You're excited to live. You think you're making the right moves. You think you're doing everything the way you're supposed to. But then the worst of the worst happens. I am Christy Van, and I work with families every single day. Families that are struggling, not with drug addiction, not with alcoholism, but with debt. I believe that finances are the number one cause of marital strife and eventually divorce. But after the marriage ended, after I found myself literally with the clothes on my back, I took my two girls and I had to figure out how I was going to fix this. And, one day I remember having this Scarlett O'Hara moment where, she picks up the dirt in her hand and she says, "I will never be hungry again." I had that moment. Maybe you've had that moment. God answered me. He answered me first with scripture. So I want to talk just a little bit about the scripture that popped out to me that changed my life. It changed my thinking about who God was in my life and what he was going to do for me. In Proverbs 10, it says, "The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, and he thwarts the craving of the wicked. A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in the summer is a prudent son, but he who sleeps in the harvest is a son who brings shame. Blessings are on the head of the righteous." Let's keep going. On into 10. "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Doing wrong is like a joke to a fool, but wisdom is pleasure to a man of understanding." Let's move on. There's so much that talks in here about what the Lord is going to do for us. "One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and the one who waters will himself be watered." I'm going to move over into Malachi. If you've not read Malachi and where it's talking about, are we robbing God? Let's just read directly from the word. Will a man rob God? Yet you are robbing me. But you say, how have we robbed you? In your tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you are robbing me. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test, says the Lord, and see if I will not open up the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there is no more need. Wow. Let's do a couple of more here. These are my really exciting things, verses in my life that have changed the way I think and feel about how God feels about me as his child. Look at the birds of the air, it says in Matthew. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable than they? But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. I'm skipping over verses because it's on and on and on. And then if we get into 2 Corinthians 9, the point here is that whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will reap bountifully. Each one must decide to give in his heart what he's going to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that having all sufficiency in all things at all times, we may abound in every good work. Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increasing your harvest. Wow, I don't hear any lack in that. Do you hear lack? I read that poverty is a curse. So when I started realizing that it begins with me, faith without action is dead. He's told me what to do. He's told me he's going to supply my needs. He is going to supply my needs. If I'm acting in faith and I'm obedient, I'm a tither, I'm a giver. I don't have the love of money. I love giving away money. And I want to do more. So after the scripture came and I got in a line with him, he started revealing things to me through wisdom that I feel is straight from him. He revealed to me that bank tools are different. I know, right? I never realized that. I always thought, well, we go to the bank to get a checking account and a savings account because that's what they tell us to do. And, then we've got to have maybe the student loan, definitely the car loan, and let's don't forget that mortgage, right? He also revealed to me that the line and the loan are completely two different tools, completely act two different ways. He taught me that simple and compounding interest are two totally different types of interest. Just like Celsius and Fahrenheit are two different scales you can measure temperature with. Measures the same thing, just in different ways. So I want you guys to know that the wisdom of the Lord is all over the Fantastic Channel because it's straight from him and for him, and all glory be to him. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you a little bit of wisdom. My mission is to reach every American family with this wisdom. And if they jump into it and they embrace it like I did, then they are going to be completely changed financially for the rest of their lives. There's no way that you can't enjoy the benefits of velocity banking throughout your life if you're acting on it and you're handling the bank the way you need to be handling them. Okay, so I'm going to show you some quick examples here of what I teach. But the fact is that anybody can do this. I love that the mindset we were just talking about. I love that. It's so important that we change our mindset first to align it with God's word. Then let him reveal to us what we're to do with our money, because he knows we need it. He knows what we need before we ask. So he knows we need. And I'm here to tell you that if you're paycheck to paycheck, if you consider yourself broke, and I know, the gurus out there are screaming, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. If you were working 2 jobs and delivering pizzas at night, you wouldn't be broke. But I beg to differ. I think that we don't have a spending problem. I think we have an interest problem. I think that we are falling right in the flow with where the world wants us, into a system that wraps you up in chains so that you're not free to do anything but go to work. And the more you work, the more taxes you pay, right? So the idea is let's break free today. I'm declaring it in the name of Jesus that what you're going to see here in just the next 15 minutes is going to change every thought you ever had about how you're using your money. Okay, so here we go. Do you know how this works? This is an amortization schedule. What is that? This is a tool that the bank uses, especially in your loans, your car loans, your mortgages, your personal loans, title loans. Oh my goodness, these crazy title loans and this, check in the mail stuff. Wow. Wow. It blows my mind that they're allowed to charge 300% sometimes with these checks in the mail, and they get by with it. And we wonder why we're broke. Okay, so the amortization schedule, what it is, and I'm taking the example of a 6% because the average rate right now is 6 to 7% on a mortgage, okay, the interest rate. And $400,000, that's the average amount of the mortgage today in 2025. The payment on a 6% $400,000 loan would be about $2,398. This is the base payment, does not include property taxes and insurance. But if you look here, the principal amount, now remember, your monthly amount is $2,380 or $2,398. But if you look at the breakdown and pull out your mortgage statement, it shows you $2,000 of this $2,398 is going to interest only. $398 is what you get to pay on your $400,000 loan. Let's go to month 2. The interest in month 2 is $1,998. And you get to apply $400 of this $2,398 to your $400,000 loan. Okay, so I'm not a mathematician, don't claim to be. Almost flunked out of algebra, actually did the first semester, had to retake it. So, not saying I'm like great at math, but this is basic math that I learned in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade that you probably know how to do as well. But if I look at this breakdown, $23.98, $2,000 going to interest, $398 going to principal. Wow, that doesn't look like just 6%. Does it? Does this look like 6%? When you break this down, that only the interest is only 6%? No, no. So how do you know how much interest that you're really paying, and why would they even do that? Why would they even do that? That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, it doesn't math, right? What if you knew by searching your own contract documents that you signed when you got your home and you signed for that mortgage? What if you just looked at your closing cost and you saw that maybe you were actually paying 115.8%? Would you fall over in a dead faint like I did when I first learned this? This is the amortization schedule. This is how it works. Is the interest front loaded? Seems to be. There's so many other schemes to this that I could share, like how they ask you to refinance your home in the fourth year, and they act like you're doing yourself a favor if you refinance it because, well, we're going to lower your interest rate down to 5.25, and that'll make your payment, smaller. Not only that, we're going to give you $25,000 of your equity because you've been a good girl or a good boy and you've been making your payments. We're proud of you. What did they do? If you sign those refinance papers, what happens? All of this interest that you've paid for that 4 years is reset and you get to pay it again. I know. That's exciting news. So if you get to repay this interest and you do that every 4 years, do you wonder why the mortgage, when you break down the root words, mort, death, gage, pledge, or grip, do you wonder why 95% of Americans never pay off their home? And when they get to the retirement age, they're broke. They're broke. Why? Because they've been doing this for the last 40 years. What could they have done with $2,000 per month for 40 years rather than throwing it away to the bank? With the Velocity Banking, the fantastic channel, I teach you how to take these lines of credit. These lines of credit are different from loans. How? The line of credit is an open end. It's an open end. That means that it revolves. That means that you can put your income into this line and you can pull your expenses back out. Can you do that with a loan? No. Once you throw this $2,398 into that mortgage, it is gone forever. You worked for that. You worked for that. And you just unknowingly making your payments because that's what they tell us to do. Let's make our payments. When you learn that you do not need the loan, that you can use the line, your life is going to change financially. There's no way it can't. These lines of credit come in HELOCs, personal lines of credit, HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. You have to own a home for that one. And credit cards. You know that thing that they've scared us to death with and they tell us don't use that. That'll get you broke. I've never had a credit card with an interest of 115%. Have you? You have to learn how this strategy works, because this can bring a 30-year mortgage down to 7 years like that. I work with 60, 70, and 80-year-olds that have been paying into these mortgages for their entire life. And now they're living on Social Security and they cannot eat. That is so discouraging to me. I wish that I could just take them all in and feed them and take their problems financially and eliminate them. Because they didn't know. They didn't know. If they had known what was happening in the bank, they could have stopped it. We can take a $10,000 chunk off of a line of credit and we can throw it into this $400,000 loan. And do you know what happens? We just jumped this whole schedule by 24 months with one $10,000 chunk, and we saved almost $50,000 in interest. $50,000. Do you know how much interest that they are going to pay for anyone who sits in this just for the 30 years? Mind you, this is front-loaded interest. So you're talking about most of that interest is paid in the first 7 years of your mortgage. So now, do you understand why they do that refinance thing in your 4th year? Statistically, every American is either going to refinance their home or sell their home within 7 years. Does that make sense as to why you get those refinance papers within that first 7 years? Yeah, you get to do it all over again. This loan will have a total interest only paid of $463,354. Interest only. They will pay over double for their home. That's not fair. That is so unfair. And then when we have gurus sitting out here telling us it's your fault, that you're an idiot, you are a spender, that's why you can't pay off your bills. That is a lie from the devil. It is not our fault. Oh, it is after you hear this message. But up to this point, if you have never understood that there are differences with those bank tools, and you've been sold the one that's the death pledge, you will totally understand why you've been paycheck to paycheck. You will totally understand why there is more month than money. I'm telling you, people, this is my mission, is to get this out to the world. I have worked with thousands of people, changing thousands of lives. People are getting free from what Satan has thrown into us here with this world system. And the Lord gets all the glory for that because he brought that to me. There are so many other strategies. This is just one. We have credit card strategies. We have student loan strategies. We have options for people who cannot get lines of credit due to the low credit scores that Michael was just talking about. There are options. Doesn't that make you want to run around the room? Doesn't that get you excited to think, wow, I could wake up tomorrow and I don't have this cloud, this dark cloud hanging over my head called that mortgage payment that I have to make on the 1st. I don't have that dark cloud hanging over me of just debt, that nasty, just slave to the lender feeling. I have to go to work. God forbid that my child is sick and I'm going to have to miss a day of work tending to that child. God forbid that you take a vacation before you're 72 because you have to work to pay your bills. God forbid you stay in the struggle that you're in, working overtime, trying to figure out how you're going to make ends meet, stressed out, while your little children are growing up right in front of your face. And you don't even get to see it because you have to work. You don't get to see it because you're so clouded with this junk called finances. When this right here gives you the answers. The Lord is beautiful, beautiful. I don't know where I would be today without him, but I will forever be grateful for the day that he brought this system into my life, because he broke my chains and he's here to break yours. And I'm excited to be the one to tell you about this. If you've never heard about it before, the Fantastic Channel is there. Those videos are free. Don't be making excuses. Oh, I can't afford that. Yes, you can. Invest in yourself. Watch some videos. That's all it takes. There's over 1,000 on that channel for you to watch. I'm here to help if you need me, but you don't need a guru to help you. You need some wisdom, and the wisdom is from God, and the wisdom is all over that channel. And you know what? I am ready to break free. I'm not a financial advisor, but I want you to break free and live like you've never lived before. Give like you've never given before. Do things and investing into people's lives. People need help. People need to know about this. I'm not going to be here forever. And as long as they allow us these lines of credit, I'm going to be just fine. And you are too. So get educated and get excited about your life again, because it only gets better. I had a 70-year-old lady say to me the other day, she was so excited about a new adventure she was on, and she said, 70 is when life begins. Well, I think that it begins every day. When I heard her say that, I was encouraged, because I've been saying life begins at 50. But to know at 70, I could still be going strong and doing what the Lord's put me on this earth to do, that's exciting. We need to get excited. Michael, I'll turn it back over to you. I know my time's out.
Oh, this is powerful. Oh, Christy, you have blessed my soul and also my wife as well. If you could hear in the background, she's like, Amen. Yes, it was wonderful. I hope everyone else is being blessed by this powerful information. I want to share your YouTube channel right quick with everyone.
Okay.
I'm going to show it on the screen here. If you want to see her free videos, like you've seen my free videos, she has some powerful information. I keep up with her. Listen, I'm already subscribed to her YouTube channel a long time ago when I first heard about her, and just I see the pop-ups, I see the shorts, I see the clips and everything. And the first time I heard it, it was in my head, it wasn't clicking yet. And I'm sure your testimony was the same way. It was like it doesn't click yet, velocity banking. But when you look at it again and you say, okay, I get it, and then you start applying it because of you. One of the things we did, we got a line of credit, a personal line of credit. And this is helping. You don't realize how the access this gives people to help start not only paying off debt, but even growing to get certain assets to help you build wealth as well. So I'm not going to spoil everything they have, but if you go to the channel, Fantastic Finances on YouTube at Fantastic Finances, you'll see all of her videos. This is just the front page here, but I admonish you, please, ma'am, please, sir, to join that, subscribe to that. And if you haven't yet, by the time this ends, I'll pray for you, okay? Because she's right, and she does. She uses the word. She used this is our guru.
Yes.
This is our
Yes.
guru, and I'm exactly. She's like I said. She's a sister from another mister. She's on the same page with me as well when it comes to, because for a long time I listened to certain people when they said credit is bad, it's evil. And but as an educator myself, I had to teach this to my students in class. I had to teach them about credit. I had to teach them about managing debt. But if I had a mindset to tell them never do a credit card, never get a loan, always take years to save up, they would not ever live. And this generation today is not doing that. They want to live. So
Yeah.
yes, I love your methods. I love this, and like I said, you definitely got a better fan in my wife than me now after she heard you more detail. It was wonderful.
Well,
Anything
thank
you
you.
want to tell to people before we transition to our next speaker?
No, I just want to, declare the blessing of the Lord over everyone that's watching here today. I want to declare that we're debt free, that we're full of wisdom, and that we are out doing what He has put us on this earth to do, because it's so important that we are helping people. That's what we're here for. And if you've been baptized and covered by the blood, then you have a mission here like everybody else in the world does not have, and you need to get busy because it's exciting out there.
Thank you once again, Christy, for your time. Everyone, I see some people have already said I've subscribed. They've loved it. So you already got some new fans. That's wonderful.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. You all have a great rest of your day.
You do the same. Thank you all. I'm gonna turn it back over to my lovely assistant here, and she's going to introduce our next speaker.
All right. Good morning again. Glory to God. Yeah, he is. Oh, I thought I was on mute. He is definitely right. I have been, like I said, I've been taking my notes. I have my green little sticky and I've filled it. I'm already on the third sticky from all of the great information that's being shared. If you, again, were not taking notes, then I definitely encourage you to write down a few things that Miss Christie said, that we are debt free and full of wisdom. I am breaking free today. My freedom begins with me. It is possible. No matter what goal you have for yourself, it's possible to reach it. It's possible to see it. It's possible to receive it. We just have to get in the right mindset and apply the principles of the Lord. So that was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Miss Christie, for sharing. We definitely hope to have you again. All right. So we're going to go forth with our next presenter. That is Mr. Gary Welsh. Mr. Gary is one of the founders and executives of Inherit Guard. Inherit Guard has been providing estate planning options for clients for over 10 years and does over 2,500 plans a year for clients. It's one of the largest estate planning services in the country. Gary is a retired veteran of the U.S. Navy, and he understands how families struggle with tight budgets, and he's created a system that allows average families to afford a great estate plan that costs between 50 to 70% less than traditional plans. Like us, he's committed to educating clients about the importance of having a good estate plan in place to care for our loved ones and those that we value most. So thank you so much for being here today, Mr. Gary. We look forward to the great wealth of knowledge you'll share. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. What an awesome introduction, and I really appreciate that. I also appreciate working with Michael and his team, and as was kind of indicated, that's really how we started our organization. I like telling everybody that We're one of the largest of estate planning providers in the entire country. We do over 2,000 plans per year. We're in all 50 states. We have hundreds of attorneys that work with us, but nobody's heard of us. You've never heard of us. And that's because we don't work directly with the public. We work with financial professionals like Michael, because we realize estate planning is a partnership, and it's a little bit on the complex side. It is legal in nature. And so a lot of people don't understand that. So we felt like it was better to just partner with these individuals, work with them. And that's how we promote our company. You will not see us on the internet. We don't have a YouTube channel. We don't have billboard advertising. We took the route of let's partner with people that can really effectively talk about estate planning. And as I go into my presentation, you're going to see where that is really important. The other thing that I think all of us in this presentation are sharing is we're about education. We do over 2,000 plans a year. I have never, quote unquote, sold a plan. I always educate my clients, and once I educate you, the options to you are obvious, and we feel that you can make the right decision. So you've heard a lot about money. We've been talking about a lot of things regarding that. This will be a little bit about money, but it's going to be more. We're going to kind of switch it up, give you a little bit of break. We're going to take the numbers out and start talking about legal things. And I'm sure that's got you all excited, like, oh gosh, I love to hear about legal things. But this is important. This is very important information that you need to have, because most of you don't know what you don't know, and what you don't know is going to hurt you. So the way that I like to describe this is, unknown to you, you have built your entire life on a train track, and that train track is in front of a tunnel. You can hear the train, you know it's coming, and you know it's going to hit you, but you don't know when it's going to show up. You can't see it, you just know it's going to happen. There's no way of avoiding it. You're not getting off the track. It is going to hit you. And I know that sounds pretty harsh, but one of the things that we're trying to do is get people to look at things that they don't like to look at. We don't want to think about this. Now, those of us of faith, we're not as scared as others, but yet all of us we don't really want to think about this, and we need to start thinking about it. So this train is going to hit you. Now, what we're trying to do is make sure that when that train hit, it doesn't take away your house. It doesn't take away all of your assets that you have built. It doesn't hurt your loved ones and the ones that you care about. This is about them. This is not about you. Estate planning is not about you. It's about the people you love, the people you want to take care of. It's about making sure that they are provided for, and that the things that you want to have happen will happen. Now, when it comes to estate planning, what you need to know is that there's only going to be one of three things that's going to happen. You're either going to pass away without any legal documents. That means you don't have a trust, you don't have a will, you don't have anything. 70% of you that are listening to this presentation right now are just that. You do not have anything in place. Now, you can also have a will, and Hollywood has done a really good job of promoting the will, but that's really not the best plan option, but it's the one that most people recognize, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Or you can have a trust to manage your estate, and that's what we do. We put together a trust because that is the best option for making sure that you take care of your loved ones. I'm going to be busting some myths in this presentation, and the first one I want to bust is, oh, well, only the wealthy need to have estate planning. I don't need it. I'm not rich. I don't have a lot of money. Well, actually, the laws have changed over the past 20 or 30 years, and because more and more people have been suing others, and the states have been getting involved, and the government agencies have been getting involved, the states have put more and more regulations on this, to the point that actually, most likely, you have about an 80% chance that your estate will have to go through a probate process unless you do something to avoid it. So what is probate court? What do we talk about when we say that it is a probate court? It is a county court that's established in every county. Every county has one, and it's overseen by a judge. There's no juries in this, but it's a judge. And there's basically four things that are going to occur where you will need, your estate will have to go through this probate court process. The first one is, do you own a home? If you own real estate, whether it's under a mortgage or not, your estate will go through probate. The second one is, do you have minor children? If you have minor children, there's a very good chance that your estate will also have to go through probate. The third one is, do you own a business? If you have a business entity, that will also trigger a probate court. And then the fourth one is the entire amount of your assets over a certain amount? That varies by state, but it basically means that if you are middle income, your estate will have to go through probate court. Then there are also some outside factors that also may impact whether or not it's going to have to go through a probate court process. And that could be, one is if the death was involved in a situation that could be litigated. In other words, there's a car accident, or the home burns down, or you're injured at work or something like that, or you're killed at work. If there's a possible litigation that's going to come out of it, that will also force it into probate. And then the last one is your financial institutions, like your banks, your credit unions and others, will force you to, or force your heirs to have to get a court order in order to access those accounts. They just won't say, oh, okay, yeah, I see a death certificate, go ahead, you can come on in and access this account. If their name is not on the account itself, they're going to say you have to get a court order. Well, that court order is probate. So what does probate look like? What is it involved with probate? The first thing that you have to understand is probate takes a very long time. Our court systems are backed up, they're overfilled, we have too many people utilizing them. COVID did no favors for us at all. It backed the courts up over 9 months before they just shut down for 9 whole months. And they haven't done anything to address it in all these years. The average wait for probate court is 1 year. So what does that look like? Well, what will happen is when you pass away, your heirs are going to find out very quickly that they have to file in probate court. So they will go down to the probate court, they'll file it, they might do it online, but they're going to file it, there's going to be a small fee, and then they have to sit down and put down the information about themselves and about the estate and take that information and give it to the court. Well, as soon as they do that, it becomes public. The courts by law have to publish it. They try to promote it as much as possible so that people can make a claim against your estate. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. Christy kind of brought up a good point about the word mortgage and what it means. I'm going to make it worse because I'm going to tell you your mortgage doesn't die with you. It still hangs around. It comes back because all debts that you have don't die with you. They don't go to your heirs. Your heirs are not responsible for them, and obviously you don't care about them anymore, but your estate is responsible for your debts. So the debts do not die with you. Your estate has to take care of it, and that includes your mortgage. So it continues on. It's the gift that keeps on giving. As much as Christy kind of blasted those people, I would even do it more because, like I said, it's the gift that keeps going. Even your heirs now have to figure out what they're going to do with your mortgage. So that's one of those things that I agree with everyone else. Let's get rid of those things if you can. However, if that is the situation, if there are some debts in there, the court's going to have to decide how to take care of that. So what they're going to tell you is, we're going to set a court date. That will probably be about a year. So they're going to say, we will wait 1 whole year before the judge will hear the case. In the meantime, while we are waiting, nobody, unless you are on the deed, you cannot live in the house. If there's a home, you cannot live in the house. You can't rent the house. You can't sell the house. You cannot do anything with the house unless your name is on that deed. If it is not, everybody has to stay out of it until the court date is heard. That's a year from now. Now, what is going to happen during that year? Let's go back to the good old mortgage again. If the home does have a mortgage, the mortgage company does not have to wait a year. They can demand their money right away. That debt falls upon the estate, and the estate has to take care of it. However, there's no mechanisms for that to happen. You haven't put anything in place to make it happen. So what that means is your heirs have to figure out a way of paying that mortgage. And if they don't, the mortgage company will foreclose. It's one of these hidden nightmares that are out there that not a lot of people understand, is that in an estate situation, there are many, many, many homes that are lost to foreclosure, and the banks end up getting, the mortgage companies end up getting the homes. That's a kind of one of those hidden disasters that nobody knows about or talks about, but that happens quite often. And the two reasons are the heirs can't afford it. They just say, I don't have the money for it, and I can't get access to the estate money to take care of it, and I can't sell it or do anything with it. I can't do it. Or they're going to say, well, I don't know what's going to happen in this court case. Maybe I'll get the house, maybe I won't. Maybe it will go to my siblings, or maybe it will go to someone else. I'm not going to pay mortgage on a home that I'm not going to get. And so they let it lapse. The court dates are a year out. Long before that, the mortgage company is going to foreclose and the home's gone. Now you've lost probably your greatest asset to that. Even that though gets worse, because when it gets into the court date, what's going to happen is you're going to have a judge. They don't know you. They don't know your family. They don't know the situation. And they are going to make a decision based upon that. Just that, whatever evidence comes in, and anybody can come in and say anything they don't know. So you have no control of the outcomes. What you used to think, like, I want this person to get this and I want this person to get that, that ain't going to happen, because the judge doesn't know you, doesn't know the situation. They're just going to make decisions based upon that. And the result of this is, in that 1/3 of the cases, 33% of them, somebody's going to say something like, I don't like this, I don't think this is fair, in which case the judge will call it what was called a contested probate. He'll move it into a contested probate scenario. At that point, they move the court date out again. Now we're talking years. The average is 4 to 7 years that it'll be in probate court. Each person will have to get their own attorney, and they'll have to fight it out. That usually costs each person between $7,000 to $14,000. You're going to have additional court costs in that. And then we have what's called settlement costs. And what settlement costs is, usually about somewhere in the process of a year later, as they're going through this, everyone's going to get tired. They're going to get tired of the fighting. They're going to get tired of paying the lawyers. They're going to get tired of everything. And they say, all right, fine, I'll just settle with them. And whereas you said, like, I should have got the house, you said, okay, I'm going to give it to everybody else. I don't care. I'll just get $2,000 instead of the whole thing, because I just want to get rid of this, and it's going to get all eaten up in attorney costs. This is a nightmare situation. This is not something you want your loved ones to go through. And yet, if you do not have a plan, this is what happens. If you do not think about this and put a plan together, this is what's going to happen. This third myth that I want to bust is very, very important if you have minor children, or if you know someone with minor children, because most people, again, do not realize what is going to happen. So in a situation where both parents are killed, both legal parents who are on the birth certificate, if they are killed or if they are not available to them, they cannot find them. If that situation occurs, most people think that the kids are going to go to a loved one. Oh, they'll just move them and take them to my parents or my brother and sisters and things like that. Long time ago, they used to do that. They don't do that anymore, because what they found out is when they would drop them off with, like, the brother or something like that, the brother might have been a pedophile, or he might be an abuser, or he might be doing drugs or things like that, and the state would get sued for it. So they said, we're not doing this anymore. So what they've decided now is, if that situation should occur, the children will be immediately taken into state custody. They will be wards of the state, and they will be placed in a foster home. Now think about this. If you have minor children, or if you know someone with minor children, this is what's going to happen. That parents have passed away, they're gone. The state worker is going to come in, they're going to grab the children, and they're going to place them with strangers. These children are going through grief. They are going through sorrow. They are going through shock. They don't understand what is happening. They want their mommy or daddy. They are going through all of this process, and then someone comes in and says, oh, by the way, you're going to live with strangers for the next 30 to 60 days while we try to figure out who's going to be your guardian. And then the social worker is going to spend those time interviewing everyone to see who's going to be the temporary guardian. That is a nightmare gone really, really bad. That is your worst case nightmare. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, much less on the people that I love. That's all what happens when you deal with probate and you don't have a plan. So what we do at Inherit Guard is we provide trust, and we are focusing on providing low-cost trust so that everybody can have that. We want to change the dynamics, just like everyone here is based upon changing the dynamics. We do too. We want to change it so that 70% of the people don't go through probate. We want to avoid it. We hate it. We think it's a really terrible system, and we want to make sure you don't go through that. The best way to do that is to have a trust. A trust was created by the probate court systems. They realized how bad it was, and they said, let's create an entity, a way, legal way, for everyone so that they don't have to go through this. They won't have to go through the wait. They won't have to go through the court systems. They won't have to, they'll be able to make their decisions. So they said, if we could create an entity that does all the things that probate court does, it solves all the problems with probate court, then let's do that. So what a trust does is it's an entity that you create. So imagine that you have this box or this entity. You put all of your assets in the box. You put your home in the box. You put your accounts in the box. You put everything in the box while you are alive. And if you are married, both of you run the trust together as co-managers of that trust. While you are alive, you can control those assets. So even though the trust owns the assets, you control it. You can sell them. You can buy things. You can put things in the trust. You can take things out of the trust. It's just like you're living right now. You have complete control over everything. If you sell something, the money passes right through into your bank account. You don't have to set aside anything for it. It's just like you're living right now. However, what is happening is the trust owns those assets. So what happens then when you pass away is you would do two things. You assign a new manager. You say, okay, if we're not here anymore, who's going to manage these assets instead of us? That's called a trustee. You assign a trustee. This person is a person that you know and you trust, and you say, I want this individual to help manage our trust for us. You assign the trustee, and then the trustee takes over and manages the assets. However, now the documents change. The entity will change, and it will say, hey, what's going to happen is that now the trustee cannot do whatever they want. They have to follow the directions of the trust exactly as you wrote it. And then you are going to put in who gets what, when, where, and how. So you're making all the decisions. The trustee must follow those decisions, but you're avoiding the probate court process. So the myth that I want to bust on this slide is, well, isn't a will just as good as a trust? I see wills on TV and in the movies and everything, and it doesn't seem like they're going through probate court. No, don't believe Hollywood. Just like everything else, Hollywood is more fantasy than fact. A will has to go through the probate court process. A trust does not. You absolutely avoid that. A will have to go through the probate court process. The only thing that a will does, it's better than doing nothing, because a will do two things. Number one, it will tell the judge what your desires are. I want this person to get this, and I want this person to get that. The second thing it does is it does assign guardians for the children so that they can immediately be taken care of. But otherwise, all those things that I just talked about still apply. So the benefits of a trust is first and foremost time. That's the biggest thing. Your trustee can act within weeks instead of months. So a couple of weeks, they'll get the death certificate. As soon as they get the death certificate, they start going. All right, let's start putting things into place. It's a very private document. Nothing is published. You do not put anything into the court systems. You do not file anything with the county. You do not file anything with the government. The documents are kept in your home. The only people who know what's going on are the people that will be involved. One of the things that they have out there that's a myth that I'll bust with this one is you see in Hollywood again, everyone goes into the lawyer's office and they're sitting there and they're saying, okay, this person gets that, and oh, surprise, surprise, you're not getting anything. Yeah, that makes a very good movie, but that's not real life again. In real life, most trustees are family members. They're not attorneys. They're family members, and they can be a beneficiary. There's nothing stopping the trustee from being a beneficiary too. Most of the trusts are read over the kitchen table, not in a lawyer's office. They're just done. They bring everybody in. They say, here, I'm going to tell you what's going on. This is what the people wish. This is what they said is going to happen. And this is what we're going to do. So the trust makes a situation so that it's a lot less stressful, no courts, no lawyers, none of that stuff is occurring. Your wishes are going to be able to determine. And then we also put rules into the trust to make it harder to contest. What we want to do is we want to make sure if somebody says, well, I don't like this, I don't think this is fair, we make it so that it makes it harder for them to cause trouble. We do set up put provisions into the trust so that if somebody is doing something wrong, your beneficiaries can address it and take care of it. But if they just want to be whiners and say, I don't like this, we're going to help make it so that they will not be able to contest it and cause problems. Now, this is why we team up with folks like Michael and go this route, because everybody says, well, this is a legal thing. No. An estate plan is a financial and a legal solution. You have to have a financial plan and you have to have a legal plan. The legal side of it takes care of the probate side. We'll make sure that your family doesn't have to go through probate. We'll make sure that your minor children are placed immediately with the loved ones that you want to do there. We will make sure that your heirs will get everything. We also put into our trust the ability of what will happen if you're incapacitated. What should happen to you if you don't die, but you're unable to manage your life, you're unable to manage your finances, you're unable to speak to healthcare providers. We'll provide documents that will allow you to appoint power of attorneys to take care of that. But you have to have that financial side. You have to do these things like, let's get rid of that mortgage so it's not there. That's part of the plan. You have to put that planning. Let's make sure that if my kids go to my brother and he's going to be the guardian to them, that I've got money there so that they can get all the things that I would give them. That's not us. We're not doing that. We got the documents, but it's going to be your family or the financial advisor, Michael, and his team helping you out with setting that up and having a way that your expenses and their expenses can be met, and that all of these things can be taken care of in a very quick, very easy manner. This is a hard situation. Any of you that have gone through this with a loved one passing away, you know how difficult and hard this is. Don't add stress and problems to an already hard situation by not having a good plan. And our plans involve both a legal and a financial side to make it so that we're making it, basically what we're trying to do is take as much of the pain out of this as possible. Now, the last thing that I kind of want to talk about is our plans versus some others out there, because I know a lot of you may be on the internet, you're looking at things and you're going to see these really low cost plans out there, or you might see somebody on a video on YouTube saying, oh, you don't need a trust, you don't need to spend all this money, you can do this for this price and whatnot. We want to warn you about those. Those are not work. We looked at that. When we came up with our solution, we looked at those scenarios and we found out that there were just problems with them. Number one, they tend to be a do-it-yourself plan. You have to do it on there with the software. The software does not tell you information. We found out that most people, after they paid their money, 40% did not complete the plan. So you just lost all that money and you didn't complete it because you didn't know how to answer all the questions. We decided that we'll take you and guide you through that process. We also, most of them also don't include the other things. I talked about you had to put your assets into the trust. Well, one of the assets you're going to put in the trust is you're going to have a deed so that you can file with the county that says that this property is legally owned by your trust. They don't include that. You have to do it yourself, and usually you have to find somebody to do it. That's going to cost you $500 to $600 to do that. So we do everything for that to make sure it's happening. And then there's the documents have to be notarized. And again, they won't say that. They won't tell you about that. They'll just go, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going to need a notary to get that done. Oh, you want one? Sure, we can provide one. That'll be another $500, $600. So be wary of that. trust Michael and his team in that what they're trying to do is create the best plan for you. That's what we want to do. We want low costs, but we don't want to do plans that are going to not work out for you. And that's the basis of my presentation today to you. It's just about having a plan together. Now, here is the big deal. You might have questions. You might have situations. I want to discuss my particular scenario and what's going on with us. If you work with Michael, we offer a free consultation. He will make the appointment for you. You will have that appointment. If you want, he can be there with you so that we could discuss this together. We could put a holistic plan together for you, but it's a free consultation. It doesn't cost you a thing. Most attorneys, if you go in and you ask them, hey, can you talk to me about putting a trust together? I'm pretty interested in doing that. They're going to charge you $400 to do that. But we will offer a free consultation. We do it virtually just like this, so you could be in your home and just do it with us, and we'll sit down. We'll answer all of your questions. We'll provide a more deep explanation about what goes on, what's going to happen, and we'll come up with a right plan for you. We have plans that start at $1,300. That is about, I'd say, at least a third, if not more, less than what it would cost in a traditional attorney situation, and we can come up with the right plan for you. So if you are interested and if you want to do a consultation with us, it's very easy. Just get a hold of Michael or his team, say, I would like to set up a free consultation, and they'll make it all happen. Thank you very much for listening to me. I do appreciate Michael and everyone for being able to give me this time. I, like them, believe that education is the key. I just now gave you the information that you did not know. Now knowing it, what are you going to do about it? We can help in that. Thanks.
Wonderful, Gary. That was so awesome. You had my wife taking notes here, and then I had some questions. You know what? Just to help some of our people who did have questions, number one, I just want to say this. You're styling, sir. I'm saying you're giving me Blues Brothers vibes here, you know? Loving it. But a question we brought up was in estate planning. Well, one of the things you said, it's not just a legal matter, it's a financial matter. So with that coming to mind, when it comes to other assets outside of the property or home, what other assets do people fight over as pertains to ownership after a person passes?
So the biggest one we find other than the house itself is the bank accounts. And it's not so much that you're fighting with the others, you are fighting with the bank. They are very, very strenuous about, I want proper documents. They do. This is one of the things about these others, gimmicks that you might see out there where they say, well, you don't need a trust. We'll do it and you can get a will or something like that and it'll cost you less. One of the things that they don't tell you about is the bank's going to say, I don't care. Give me either two things, a court order or a trust document. The trust is accepted by institutions. That's the biggest deal about the trust. All institutions, all government organizations accept the trust as a probate avoidance tool. So if you come in with all these other gimmicks, you're going to run right into the bank and the bank's going to say, no, we're not turning anything over until you provide one of those two things. So those are one of the issues that we have. The other side of it is those also then the issue of heirlooms, the things that you want to get. I have a story that I won't go into detail with, but if you want to come in and we can do it like another class, I'll tell it to you. I'll tell you a story where the two daughters of the person that passed away, or the two heirs of the person passed away, spent 5 years in court and spent over $10,000 fighting over what? A $5 hairbrush. That is a true story.
No.
Wow.
True story. $5 hairbrush. They spent 4 years, tens of thousands of dollars on attorney's fee fighting for that hairbrush. So one of the things that a trust does is it gives you that ability to say, this person gets this person gets that, and it really locks it down so that they cannot really contest that of how that's going to happen.
That's powerful. That is so powerful. We have people that are popping up more questions and comments. They're saying, what's the cost Is it one time or is it a yearly cost for the trust? They're asking about the cost.
So the cost is a one-time cost. The 30-minute consultation, we will go over it. If you just have a simple situation, if you're just wanting to avoid probate, you're going to have a simple distribution of your assets. Those trusts are around about $1,200, $1,300, somewhere in that framework there. If it's something more elaborate that we're going to have to work with, we will explain why that is required. We just don't sit there and say, well, you have to get this higher cost trust. 70% of our trust will fall into that lower end. That's kind of showing you how we think about things. It's not about, oh, let's use this low cost to get everybody to come in the door and then we'll upsell them on a higher plan. 70% of our clients will get the lowest costing trust with us. However, your circumstances may require a little bit higher, but we'll explain why. Even if it is, it will still be anywhere between 30 to 40% less than what you would do with a traditional attorney. If you walked into an attorney's office, they will probably quote you much higher than we will. But that free consultation will let you know. And it's the same thing. It's just an education. All we're going to do is just tell you why you need this. You get to choose on what you want to do. It is a one-time fee. You pay for it once and you'll never pay for it again. It will last you for the rest of your life. The only time that it will cost you more is if you have a change in your marriage status, you're single and you get married, or you're married and you get divorced, or and if you get widowed, it still stays the same. You don't have to do anything more, only if you get a divorce. Or if you make changes yourself. If you say, well, I don't want this person to be my trustee anymore, I want somebody else to do so, then it might cost you a couple $100 to get it changed. But generally, it's a one-time fee. You pay for it once. Most of our clients pay one fee, and that's it, and they don't do anything. You don't have to pay for it ever again.
That's great to know. And even with items that they get later on, properties they get later on, do y'all include the pour over portion, or do they have to pay more to add these assets in?
No, the trust is designed by design. You can put assets into the trust, and you can take assets out of the trust, and you do it yourself. It's very easy. It's a very simple process of saying, I'm selling my house. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take the money. It goes right into your bank account. You buy the new house. You go in and get a new mortgage. And all you have to do is just simply say, I have a trust. The mortgage companies, again, this is a well-established system. Everybody knows how it works. They'll say, okay, we can work with that. We can do that. And they will do so. Another part of that is by law, the mortgage companies cannot charge you extra or do anything about your mortgage when you move it into a trust. They're forbidden from making any changes to it simply because you're moving it into a trust.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for that information, Gary. And I want to let everyone know, Gary, he's on the West Coast, so he took some extra time to wake up early on a Saturday to give you this information. So let's go ahead and let's make some appointments with Inherit Guard. They have some great people to work with. Let me tell you this, don't wait, don't hesitate. There was a young mother of 3 who hesitated on doing this. She had passed away, and the children, according to that state law, went into the custody of their father, who was doing some illicit activities. She didn't want that at the time, but she didn't have a trust to cover her children. So they were taken in by him and his family, and that family is known to do a lot of illicit activities, and those children are now being raised by that family instead of the desires of that single mother who had passed on to be raised by her side of the family. So don't hesitate, don't wait. Let's set up a time to take care of this. Set up a time for your children, set up a time for your grandchildren, whatever it is. What I don't care if you're 70 and you have great grandchildren that are in their 20s, a trust is needed. It doesn't matter because life happens. So we appreciate this information. Gary, you're getting some great standing ovations in the chat. People are loving it, and they're wanting to set up some time to meet with the company, to speak with me, or any of our future team members as well. Speaking of that, we have our next speaker coming up, which I think I'll introduce this individual. My wife has been doing such a great job. Yes, and unless you want to do it, love, so wonderful. So, all right, let me go ahead and turn it over to her. I do things in decent in order, and then we'll have some information. You all continue to ask questions in the chat, and we'll go forth as we continue with our final speaker. Here we go.
All right. All right. All right. All right. We are here again. And so, again, thank you so much, Mr. Gary, for your time and for all of the information that was shared. There's several different comments that were mentioned stating that there's information that you gave that nobody even knew about. The clarity, the information, and it was easy to understand. So, again, thank you so much for that. And as I've done before, I just want to make sure we're keeping our notes, making sure that we're writing down aspects that has been shared. So a estate plan is a financial and legal matter. Make sure you're writing that down. Both are needed in planning for your family, and my future. Please make sure you are taking care of these concepts in your mind so that you're not just writing down the great information, but you're remembering how important it is to you, how needful it is to you and for your family. All right. I love that analogy of the train, that powerful train that is coming. So we want to make sure we're ready. So I am here to, hello, Miss Jackie. Good morning. Good morning. I am here to introduce you. She is married, a married woman of 34 years. That is awesome. With two amazing children. She is in a faith-led family. She is an advocate and a leader dedicated to building stronger communities through a Better Tomorrow project. The mission is No Families Left Behind, empowering families with resources, hope, and tools for lasting growth, all for the glory of God. So we are so grateful to have you, Miss Jackie. Thank you so much for your time. We are going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Morrow. And listen, I am just elated to be on here this morning, being able to be a part of this amazing team. Listen, today, Facebook family, hello. YouTube family, hello. The world of Zoom, hello. Listen, today is about you. I'm just in awe of God that He's allowed me to be in such a place here at the right time to be able to shout to the world, to be a voice to say, hey, you matter. Everything that was said today was a plethora of options that God gives us to let us know that He's given us everything. He's giving us all the tools that we need for the kingdom. Today is a day where, even with me sitting here, life happens, text situations come up, but God also let me know, you know what, Jackie, it's not even about what you are here deemed to do. It still leads and ends with Him, right? So today, I just want you to hear me in a sense of seeing me as I am your sister, right? I am the auntie that you may know. I am the family that, yes, I have a son, an amazing daughter, a husband of 34 years, but yet life situations happen. Out of everything that was spoken to you today, I've been in all of those situations. I can literally tell you a story behind each area, whether it's credit. Michael did such an amazing job. And I get goosebumps. I'm excited that because God connects you with the right people in your arena, in your area, in your community to give you what you need. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you being present with the people that's around you? Because God connects the dots for us, but sometimes we are so busy with life, we get so bogged down with what we don't have, and we fail to realize the diamond in the rough of who He puts around us. And so to have a partner, a friend, a family, that loves God and want to help you do what's right, not just for yourself, but to help you do what's right for the people that you love. And so it's amazing to know that God will put you in the midst of the people to help you. And so today we just learned that we have someone in our midst that can help us with credit. That's something that for me, I consider myself as an ambassador for God. I know that part of my mission is to help build the destinies of what you are desiring and wanting for your family. Christy, she, who knew, God, and I can just imagine the people that she's connected to, and her family and friends and the community that she's in, to know that in such a time as this, there's a person that's personal, who has a heart for the kingdom and family and community, that can help us, point us into the right direction when it comes to building wealth and finances, and helping us get out of a place of lack. She can crunch the numbers for you and show you a way to put you on the right track. To me, that's amazing. So these are people that I'm excited about. Oh my goodness, when it comes to Gary and Inherit Guard, again, I'm plugged into that. And so again, on my platform, these are areas where we're able to be the face, to merge everybody together, to show you how to build solutions on how to put things in a practical situation to get out of financial debt, or to build wealth, or to point you and your family in the right direction. I'm not sure if Michael's able to share a screen or a chart of just some of the amazing things that the company is able to do, but if not, it's okay, right? Because here, again, it's not about me and my face, it's about you. I'm excited because I want you to see yourself. I want you to see the people that you love. I want you to be able to think about, how could I make a difference, with the people around me? How can I make a difference today? Not tomorrow, but today, right now. I don't know if you paid attention or you listened to Miss Morrow when she said, listen, now it's time to take the notes. Now it's time to write down those areas that means the most to you, and how can you help? How can you be better in those situations? For me, being a part of the Malari Group, and we're strategists, we're financial strategists, where we're here to help people build solutions to get better. So I have this chart that's posted, but my personal place today is for you to open up your hearts and minds and make a decision. Make a decision today that I'm going to reach out to the people that spoke. I'm going to touch bases with me to be able to get myself back on track, where I can get my financial needs in order. And so, as an advocate for family, as an advocate for just individuals alone, where are you? I love the fact that Gary talked about the probate, because again, I have a story where there's a family where there were 3 sisters, and the last sister passed away this year. And they have great grands that are left behind. And within that same situation, one sister was able to set the stage where her family was able to pull from an estate where there was land that was set into the family for over 100 years. And they were able to take their third and cash it out. But then there are other 2 sisters who had no clue that that state was even existing. And so there's a battle cry on how to even go about salvaging that the last few acres of that land, whether they're going to cash it out or keep it and allow it to continue to grow. What do you do with that? My personal story as a mom of 2, finding out that at a young, tender age with my son, who was only 11 years old, finding out that he had stage 3 cancer, almost stage 4 cancer. thinking that I had things in place, right? Thought I was prepared, but finding out soon enough that no, I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough. And then being told that what I did have in place was not enough to sustain my home, let alone be what I had, have the things needed to be in place to keep him going. And so quickly I had to learn and I had to make some changes. And thankfully, I found this company that I'm in today that I'm 100% sold out because they put the right things in place to help get us on track. Not just me, but I'm so grateful to know that that 11-year-old kid is now 27 years old and he knows about money. He knows how to put things in place. And at the same time, he has a backing of his own financial planning situations to help him if he should get into a place where he should get ill again. And I'm praising God that that's not the case, but he's prepared. He's even prepared for the future family that I'm so desiring that God would give me one day. And so today, as you take in everything that was given to you, think about where you want to start. And not just think about it, go ahead, send out a text, go ahead and make the call saying, I want to be a part of what you guys have. Make the call, letting them know that I want to check out my financial situation. It's free to you. It's free to you. Everybody said that today on the call. I'm here as an advocate to be a part of the community, to let them know, to let them be aware. Don't be that person to sit down and just say, I'm planning not to fail, but yet you don't take the action to really make a difference. And then let's just say you're the family that did, because we come across the same situation of the family being able to, that says, hey, I do have things in place. But that was probably 5 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago. I have a lovely young lady who they did have things in place. Her husband did put certain things in place for her and her 3 boys. But guess what? Time passes on. Things and solutions change. And if you didn't go and look back to see what was updated, again, things do still fall in the cracks. I like that Gary kind of broke that down to you. So she was one of those ones who went into probate. She also was a victim of putting things on hold, her account on hold, because the family contested it. They went against it. So it took almost 2 years for some of that stuff to go through. And I say that to say again, you may very well have certain things in place, but if it's not something that you revisit every at least 3 to 6 months, because life and situations do happen, you may fall through the cracks, or it may prolong you more than what you thought it would do. And so today is a day that God did make. He made this day for us to actually sit in the midst, to get this information, to analyze where we are and make the call. And it may not be for you. The question is, who do you know? Who do you know that needs to hear this information? Who do you know that would love to know more about what we offer? Today is your day. Today is not about me. It's not about the speakers who came on today. Today is a day that it was specifically made for you to be on this call, no matter what platform you're on. I'm grateful that you took the time to listen in, to say, hey, I want to hear about what's going on in the community. I want to hear about how can I make my life better, because we are chosen by God. We were made for such a time as this, and with everything that's going on in the world, it's not a if, it's not even a don't, it's a must, that we must get our house in order. We must get our house in order. I'm speaking to me. I don't know about you. Today was a day that God spoke to me. I hear his voice, his cry, that there were so many little areas that I can do better. There were even some areas that it's like, oh my God, forgive me for lagging. Forgive me for being slack in the areas where I think I have time. We all feel that we have the time, that it could be done tomorrow, but tomorrow is not promised to us. I didn't, I have a beautiful family, but I was not prepared for someone to tell me that my son was going to have cancer, let alone a cancer that could take him out. And I say that because he coded twice. There was 2 times I was in a whole nother mind space, head space, that I didn't know for sure if my son was going to live, right? Now I'm in a life of caring for my mom, right? And I get to do that. Today is her birthday, and we celebrate her birthday. We celebrate her life, because she too has had some close calls. I have been spending time, in and out of the hospital with her, right? But guess what? Because I'm connected to the right people, because I have friends who help keep me grounded and on track. I have friends who say, let me make sure that things are in order for you, Jackie. And so you're getting a chance to have the same thing handed to you. What are you doing with it? What are you gonna do with it? And so for me, if my takeaway and my words of encouragement is to take this moment. Don't wait. Predate it, right? You have the option to reach out and say, listen, I want to go ahead and set up this appointment. Let's attentively set this appointment up, because I know my schedule can get so busy. I know time can get away from me, but let me go ahead and put some things in place, because you could be that family that, like Michael talked about early on, where you're here today, and then it could be today or tomorrow that something happens traumatic in your family, right? So let's not be that family. Let's not be the one who we hear the word, but we don't do it. Let's not be that person. And if God is putting someone on your heart that needs to hear more, then reach out. We have the providers to help. We have the backing of credible companies that will make sure it gets done. We're not going anywhere. That's what that means, right? And we have all the tools to give you the options of what that can meet your need. And so, Michael, I am done. I just want you to know that we are here. We have partners all over the state of Tennessee. We have partners all over the United States. We are here from Puerto Rico to Canada. But more importantly, we are here for your household. We are here for your family. And so take this opportunity to see where you are, to see what's needed, and know that we are here to help. Know that you have a church family. Know that you have people that's in the financial world to put things on track, to make things better for you in such a way that you can go back out, because we're about duplication. It's not what you're just learning and getting for you, but it's what you can gather that you can go back and feed it to the community. You can educate the community. You can educate your household in such a way that the masses of God's kingdom can get what they need and be able to take back what the enemy thinks he's stolen from us, right? Because we're valuable. We are definitely the apple of God's eye. We are created to do big things. And I just love the fact that everybody here spoke from the heart. They spoke God's word over what we're doing today. And I just pray that you take it, and own it. Own what God has given you. And if you feel that you've not been given a good hand to share, know that you're in a place where you can make it right. You can make things right. Whatever's that you feel that is wrong or have been unfairly given to you, or let's just say that you've done some things that you cause your situation to be where it is. No matter where you feel that you are, know that you're in a place today. Today is a new day where things can be put back on the right track. God can give you a whole new hand to be able to make some changes for you and the generations of your family to come, because that's what matters. We're here to protect our seed. We're here to protect the generations that are coming after us. So you be the chosen one to make a difference. Whether you want to or not, you are chosen to make a difference. And I'm glad that God has placed me in such a place where if you give me the chance to be that person for you, I know that God will shine through it all. So have an amazing day. Enjoy today as if it's your last day. And don't wait. Don't wait. Do what's necessary for you and your family.
Thank you so much. Powerful testimony, Sister Jackie. Thank you so much for actually letting us be a part of that part of your life, because a lot of people don't know. They see the now, they see the present, they see the shine, but they don't see the valley we went through. They don't see the muck we went through to get where we are. And I greatly appreciate you sharing this with us, your testimony, and what people need to do to make sure their life is secured, assured, and insured, because a lot of people don't know how to do that. I actually want to show people just, excuse me, a glimpse of what you offer, what we offer as a team, but primarily as you as well. And we do a financial analysis. That's what you do. You look at people's situation, where they are now, to help them reach their goals and help them build that cash flow, emergency fund, debt management, proper protection, wealth building, and preserving wealth. And this is where we all come into play as a team, as people who are connected in a financially conscious community. So I'm greatly appreciative of your time and what you've offered to us as well. I hope you all got a screenshot of her information. If not, let me know. But if there are any questions in the chat, if people are just thanking you for your presentation and all the information that you gave us as well. I know a lot of people are still online, and we thank you all for that. Jackie, is there anything you want to add before we close things?
Not necessarily add. Basically, I do pray that you guys did get the screenshot. Again, my apologies in advance of just not being able to have the things to go accordingly, but it's not my way. It's always going to be his way. And just live in the urgency of now. Live as if this is your last hour. We take advantage of just life in general because we woke up and we assume that things are just going to be as is or okay, and hopefully with the thought of it being better. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't plan, your life in such a way where it's to make a difference for you and the people around you, you don't know, you'll live a life not knowing that God can be bigger than what you even can imagine or dream. You want to live in the realm of your best life. And so I'm grateful when I look back on the challenges of where I've been, and I lean in the areas that can be difficult today. I get to wake up with the anticipation of what God is going to do. How is he going to shine? I get to be in a place where I'm saying, God, show me, how could I make this better? And he reminds us, he shows us if there's something that's out of order, whether it be through your financial situations or relationship situations. And I know that this whole event was supposed to be about marriages and beyond, because it starts with the home. And I'm grateful to have a family that we're still here, we're still intact. Is it challenging? Yes, of course. But that's the fun part about it. I tell myself and I tell the people that I love, be excited that you even have a challenge to even work through. Be excited that you can be on blast to the world, that he's shining that light, so people can see that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And so to be here to say I even have 34 years of marriage and we're still here shining is a big deal. It's a big deal in such a way that I got to remind myself, because I can get in that complacent situation of saying, thinking that, so what, right? But every day is a day closer to the destiny of where he's calling me. And not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of my loved ones, for the benefit of my community, for the benefit of those people who I don't even know. Just to be here today, knowing that there are people all over the world that could possibly come across this channel and hear one word or one solution to their problem that can change the trajectory of whatever it is that God has placed them in charge of, is a big deal. So be excited to know that new things are here in your hands, and you can make a difference and a turnaround based on the information you've heard today on this panel.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that insight. Like you said, it takes a mindset, the word of God and estate planning, all these factors to be successful, and we do matter. And so once people get that insight about being, like you said, it's about perception. My wife was saying it's about perception and getting that mindset of, you know what, I get the opportunity and the privilege to solve this challenge, to do this. So thank you for bringing that to light. And we all have challenges. We all have these opportunities as well to get through. And one thing that our team does is help families, individuals and families, get through it, not only for the now, but for the future. So thank you so much, Jackie, for sharing this. And even though this is called, like I said, Marriage, Money, and Beyond, this is dealing with the family, the individual as a whole. It's because it was sponsored by our married couples ministry, the Inseparables, and the home finance ministry at our church. So we come together to make this happen. So however the Lord led you, as long as he led you to do it, I know it blessed someone's life. So let's go ahead and celebrate everyone. Thank you again for your time, Jackie. I want to invite everyone as well to connect with our Faith Life Church. You can connect with us online. You can connect with us as well in person. We want to thank you all for joining us. If you don't know already, you can go to FLC, the number 4, the letter U.com, FLC4U.com. See what we're about online. Check out our broadcast. You can check us out on Facebook at Faith Life Church. We are in our Tennessee campus here or in our Nashville area, or you can get with us on YouTube at We Are FLC. So definitely connect with us and see what we're all about. If you want to come to our location tomorrow, just jump online, see where we're located in the West Nashville area, and we look forward to you being there. Other than that, we thank everyone for staying with us. I know we went over about 10 minutes, but it was worth it. It was worth every minute. It was nobody's fault. Well, it could have been my fault, but it was nobody's fault because people needed this. They need to hear this. So we look forward to our next session, and we are planning married couples retreat 2026. So look out for that, everyone. If you're a married couple or will be married by that time in by the autumn time next year, look forward to that. We're planning on it, and we want to make sure you're there. Not only these topics, but topics in all aspects of marriage, according to how God wants you to have a successful marriage. Other than that, we love you all. We bless you, and we want to make sure you have a great night. Other than that, we'll see you tomorrow morning. And for those who are worshiping somewhere else, you have a great time also. All right. Have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you.
You. And make sure I had